Do you understand? I'm not just saying this. I tell high-powered reporters from Nightline and Rolling Stone and New York Magazine and Wall Street Journal, when they come here, I go, can I give you the actual global documents from the UN, from the IMF, can I show you where David Rockefeller says that he's guilty as charged, wanting a world government? Can I show you a New York Times article with David Rockefeller praising Mao Zedong? And they say, no, I don't want to look at it. This is your opinion. And they go write articles that I'm crazy making this stuff up. Okay, I'm crazy. This is from David Rockefeller's book. In fact, we'll put it back up on screen. I forget the title. What's the title of the book? I own it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. They got it. Here it is. I can show folks watching PrisonPlanet.tv. We've got bookshelf after bookshelf out there. David Rockefeller Memoirs with an afterword by the author. This is his authorized New York Times bestseller that came out in 2005. Let me even check the publication date to be absolutely precise and test my memory, which is, excuse me, first published in 2002, and then I got it with a reprint in 2004. And this is in memory of Abby Aldrich Rockefeller and my wife, Peggy Rockefeller. And it's bookmarked here in the book, because the press likes to roll their eyes when I show this to them. Proud internationalist. That means not international brotherhood, but that means bankers. And there's quotes where he says, I want international bankers to run things versus free states. And we have the quote here. Some even believe we are part of a secret cabal working against the best interest of the United States, characterizing my family and me as internationalist, and of conspiring with others around the world to build a more integrated global political and economic structure. One world, if you will. If that's the charge, I stand guilty, and I am proud of it. And they've got all these low-level camp followers who run around and say that, oh, it's about brotherhood and peace. Yeah, you see the peace of the UN and the bankers. I mean, I've seen top globalists in the EU bragging in major newspapers. We've read the quotes here, where, in fact, you can even search the term, founders of EU admit that it is a takeover arm for sovereign states, for bankers. I mean, they just brag thinking you're stupid and you don't read their own books they write. In fact, I actually found it out of the book itself. Here's the full quote. In fact, zoom in on this so folks will actually see it out of the book if they're watching on PrisonPlanet.tv. Right here on page 405. Populist paranoia. Now, he goes on here to say we're paranoid because we don't like this. See, this is what globalists do. And we're going back to your calls. They admit they're setting up world government, but then if you don't like it, you're insane and it doesn't exist. And he shows this arrogant mind control spin in this full paragraph. The anti-Rockefeller focus of these otherwise incomparable, who can comprehend people that know how to read their own documents, these anti-Rockefeller focus of these otherwise incomparable political positions owes much to populism. Populists believe in conspiracies. You mean in powerful people manipulating and wanting more power? You mean we believe in history and reality? Populists believe in conspiracies, and one of the most enduring is that a secret group of international bankers and capitalists and their minions control the world's economy. Because of my name and prominence at the head of Chase for many years, I have earned the distinction as a conspirator-in-chief from some of these people. Populists and isolationists. And we're not isolationists. We don't like China having tariffs on us because you moved your factories over there. We don't have tariffs on them. We don't like your insiders that wrote the health care bill all getting waivers for their companies to get health care, but I've got to buy it, even though my employees don't want it. We don't like your unfair trade advantage, punk. And it just goes on. And all these are code words. All we want in the United States as a result of global trade, oh, look how good that's been, so-called global trade, improved communications, so we're deindustrialized, they're spying on all of us, and the heightened interaction of people from different cultures, bringing groups in so we all fight with each other. Populists rarely mention these positive consequences. Oh, yes. It's like the positive consequences of gonorrhea. Nor can they cogently explain, oh, we can't do that, how they would have sustained American economic growth and the expansion of our political power without them. You mean your political power using the United States as your evil juggernaut. Again, oh boy, it is really hard to respond to this level of throwing it in your face. These people are tyrants. This is a man who in the New York Times, we went to the microfilm at UT and have it in Endgame, the date, everything, and praised Chinese control and what Mao did. And what do you see in the news all the time from the CFR that he helped set up with his father? How China's the model, how they're great, how they're not bad. And going back into David Rockefeller's memoirs, published 2002, we already last hour read the quote where he admitted, yes, he wants global government, that yes, the populists, are a bunch of conspiracy theorists, but basically they're right, but he's going to defeat them. Aaron, go over some of that.
Yeah, that whole book is very tongue-in-cheek because he opens with kind of mocking the little people who are against the world government, the so-called populists and so forth. But then he breaks down his little personal accounts of the Council on Foreign Relations, of the Bilderberg Group, and of some of the other groups.
But wait, they say that doesn't exist, but he's allowed to talk about it because he's for it. He controls reality. Sometimes it exists, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's totally...
This is their philosophy, folks.
And notice here how he mocks people but still admits Bilderberg exists. If the Council on Foreign Relations raises the hackles of conspiracy theorists, the Bilderberg meetings must induce apocalyptic visions of omnipotent international bankers plotting with unscrupulous government officials to impose cunning schemes on an ignorant and unsuspecting world. See how tongue-in-cheek that is.
He's telling you what he's doing.
Yeah, but
we've got internal quotes that have been confirmed where he says things like that.
It would have been impossible to do this if the media hadn't worked with us. We want to thank the Washington Times, the Washington Post, the New York Times. You didn't say Washington Times. Go ahead.
He's playing upon our ignorance, and I'm sure he's familiar with all the denial about these kind of groups going on. But deeper into this chapter, there's this perception that Bilderberg are kind of untouchable people. They're such lofty bankers and militarists and so forth that they can't be touched. But then he explains how in 1976 the group had to shut down for a year, how its founder, Prince Bernhard, nearly had to step down from the council and, almost was in criminal trouble. I don't know if that all would have happened if he would have actually gone to prison. But reading from David Rockefeller, in 1976, Bilderberg faced a scandal that almost resulted in its collapse. That's David Rockefeller admitting it. Early that year in testimony before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, it was alleged that Prince Bernhard had approached the Lockheed Corporation with an offer to use his official position to influence Dutch defense procurement policies in exchange for significant financial consideration. As the year wore on, evidence against Bernhard accumulated, including indications that he had met with intermediaries during Bilderberg events. They always claim they don't set any policy there, that they don't even discuss policy. And here they are admitting that Prince Bernhard was carrying on part of this Lockheed Martin scheme.
Yeah, Obama and Hillary in 2008 show up at the secret meeting. We're there, telling the media they're there. The media is all looking for them, but says, we're not going to go look there. And they decide that Hillary's going to step down at that meeting.
Yeah, and we know from all the things Tucker brings out that later become true that there's definitely very important stuff going on at the meeting. But Rockefeller goes on to explain how in '76 the conference was canceled and it appeared for a time Bilderberg was finished. Now, of course, they would have continued under some other name, but the point is they aren't beyond the reach of accountability, of public scrutiny, and all these populists who've been criticizing them, that does bear pressure on them. And, of course, Prince Bernhard was not only a Nazi SS officer, he also worked with the London RAF during World War II, so he was playing both sides while he was sitting on the IG Farben council or board or what have you. He was also one of the founders of the World Wildlife Fund, along with the eugenicist Prince Philip and the eugenicist Julian Huxley.